to our splash screen here to look at our finalists who will be attempting to bring in the win for their Coach-Pupil League team. We started with 8 teams, and these are the last 2 remaining of all the Tier 3 StarCraft players. Magic Bullet versus Herald. Phoenix 2470 versus Dada. 78641, also known as the Probe Killer. Tech AJPU versus Marting B. Vint versus Ingo 505. And Z-Man versus Shimmer Rev. These 10 players will be attempting to play the Star Game to bring the victory to their team for the Tier 3 CPL 8 final match. I have no wait, hold on. I think the song ends there. Good, great timing. And now we're gonna hop into it. As per our overlay, our first match is gonna be Magic Bullet versus Herald Andrastes in a Terran versus Terran. That's about all I have to say about that. We're gonna hop right into it, start the game up, and see if we're gonna start on something hype or if we're gonna start on a 30-minute game that'll wait until we go to battle cruisers. Oh, okay. We are getting the overlay fixed. There we go. In the bottom right corner, playing as the orange Terran squad for 2Fact 2 Furious. I hit a button somewhere. For 2Fact 2 Furious, we have Magic Bullet. And in the bottom left-hand corner, playing as the red Terran squad, we have Herald Andrastes. Shimmer in the chat saying Bullet is legit Tier 2 material. I agree. They've been playing really well since they started joining in the CPL League, but does that translate to? Oh, we are on fast or not fast. Let's fix that a little bit. Does it translate into a winning finals match? For our players, in those SCVs, they're going to build their supply depot at their ramp. Magic building it right there. Not much more to say about these early openings. We'll probably be seeing a mirror build from both of our players, unless something crazy happens here. Terran players tend to like playing standard, and so that generally would mean that we see a lot of mirrored builds in TVT, more so than other matchups. I think really the only match we see more build mirrors in, actually I was gonna say ZVZ, but ZVZ has like 3 builds and somehow no players ever actually mirror their builds in that matchup. Yep, refineries going down for both players, getting that gas production started. I do think the ramp placement in TVT, I think this is a little odd. Especially since walls don't really matter in Terran versus Terran. So I don't really understand the benefit of putting the wall up here. And you can see we're also like the SCVs kind of flew around trying to figure out where the entrance was. I mean, I guess like if you have Marines up here and they attack you with a bunch of Marines, you have some kind of a high ground, but they can just walk up and shoot you past the barricade. So I'm not really sure what the wall in TVT is supposed to do. And in general, I think this is Tier 3, of course, but I think as players sort of get better and they get more comfortable with the macro, you stop seeing this building placement, and you start seeing more building placement similar to what Magic Bullet is doing, where you build it closer to the command center. There's going to be a last scout for Magic Bullet. First scout for Magic Bullet. Last scout for Harold Andrastes. Let's get our players correct. Are we on? Nope, we are on free-for-all here. Factory going down for both players, but Magic Bullet is getting that SCV harassment in, but the Marine should scare it off, and they won't actually get any kills with that SCV. Yep. So it should die on its way out from 3 shots to this Marine. Executed. Alright. Harold continuing the scout across the map here. Going to find absolutely nothing in the top right base, as they should. And Magic Bullet is going to start getting their expansion up, which is really good for Magic Bullet. Dada in the chat screaming no. Their teammate. Oh, their heart ate. Oh, okay. Dada's pretending to care about worker deaths. It's okay, Dada. We won't tell people about your sordid past concerning workers. But with this last scout here, Harold Andrastes will not... Actually, they're going up to 3 factories. Never mind, this might be an all-in attempt or a bust attempt here from Harold. In which case, Magic Bullet getting a faster CC and more defensive and less defensive units, more like generalist units such as these vultures, that could be an opening for Harold to be able to bust this expansion. If they bust the expansion, then I mean you'll get the contain set up, and it's very hard to break out of those because siege tanks are a pretty good unit. Vultures coming out from Magic Bullet. No tanks yet, which is what they'll need to be able to defend the bus. 2 tanks coming out from Harold here. And siege mode on the way, and vultures on the way as well to supplement the tanks. You'll probably see speed restart researching after siege mode finishes. The tank pilots here they're doing something. Not sure what. Okay. Few tank shots on the Marine. So Magic Bullet now does know what's coming up, and they've started spider mines, so they'll be able to mine out the front of their base, and that should stop any concentrated siege tank rush. Yeah, there is a bit of a traffic jam here. The tanks are a little confused, but they got the spirit. Vulture's actually moving out. They're going to put spider mines at the natural of Harold Andrastes, which I mean is also very smart play. Great pick off there, getting the Marines. If you kill the supporting units of the tanks are a lot more vulnerable to just being ran on top of and killed. But Harold Andrastes is pulling the trigger. They're cycling everything down. 2 tanks and a vulture coming through. No spider mines yet. The research just finished, so Magic Bullet will probably start mining up these ramps. And there we go, mines at the front of their base. Taking out 1. Oh, and they are jiving on the tanks, laying the mines. No target fire. Oh my gosh. Marines and the tanks expertly killing the spider mines that the vultures are trying to get down. And this is terrible for Magic Bullet. And now that Harold Andrastes can keep moving forward, Magic Bullet has more vultures. They're going to keep trying to lay the spider mines down, but unfortunately they only had 2 mines actually finish up. Another spider mine gets sniped before it can do anything. And now Harold Andrastes with 5 tanks standing outside the main of Magic Bullet. Magic Bullet GG's, and that is the game. Wow. Yeah, I think he needed to not have ran in and engaged on the siege tanks. It probably would have been better to just play it safe and keep mining up the ramp. Here's our scorecard for anybody interested in that. And with that, we're going to move back to our overlay so that we can affix our score. That is 1 point on the board for Harold Andrastes. Off to a swinging start for the Lettuce Attack team. Now we move into game 2. This map is going to be Eclipse 1.2. We're going to hop right into it and see if Harold Andrastes can get the 2-0, or if Magic Bullet is going to be coming back for their team. The 2 facts, 2 furious. However, both players went for 3 facts last game, so we'll see what the situation here is on Eclipse. A 2-player map which naturally lends itself to more aggressive plays since you don't have to scout your opponent. But again, this map also is a bit more defensive. Or actually, it's not really, it's actually less defensive. Your natural is more on the complete low ground. There's not even a single ramp for you to even try to protect. So if Harold Andrastes, if we have a mirror of game 1, I could very easily see Harold getting this 2-0. But Magic Bullet, they were warming up. And aside from a slight miscalculation on the aggressiveness of vulture mining siege tanks, I think Magic Bullet plays really well. I don't know. It's still anybody's game. I don't know if game 1 is entirely indicative of where we're gonna see. It definitely isn't a. Game 1 definitely wasn't a game where you watch it and you go, oh, these players are just absolutely, like, completely outmatched. Like, they shouldn't be in the same tier. But that's not to say that these players shouldn't be in tier 3, or shouldn't not be in tier 3, because both players played very well last game. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of them show up in, at least one of them show up in tier 2 next season. But of course, sometimes that can depend on how we break down the tiers, because so many players have improved so much in the CPL that, like, you watch any tier 3 game towards the end and you're like, oh wow, these are really tier 2 players. But then it's like, well, if everybody in tier 3 moves up to tier 2 and tier 2 moves up to tier 1, we kind of have to, like, reset it. So it's like, okay, I guess you're still tier 3 players, but you're a lot better in the next season. Alright, there's the scout from Magic Bullet again, getting some SCV harassment. Oop, Harold said let them fight, and Magic Bullet actually is the one who pulls the SCV away. He could have gotten that kill, but unfortunately he was the one who called chicken, and Harold is going to get away with having a 5 HP SCV. Unfortunate there for our Orange Terran. But the SCV is going to stay in the mineral line, keep on scouting. Actually, I wouldn't even be moving this SCV since it seems like Harold isn't even trying to, like, come and chase it away. Oh, there's the second Marine coming up to kill it, though. So that will be one dead SCV. Factories being placed down for both players. Magic Bullet entirely skipping the early Marines and is going for an extremely fast CC here. The SCV from Harold is actually going to get chased away. They haven't scouted the main, but they do see the SCV down on the low ground, so they might just be assuming that an expansion is coming up. But Harold doesn't have that confirmation. We're operating on an assumption that Harold is making an assumption that this CC is being produced. There's no solid knowledge here from any aspects, not from the players or the casters, but I think Harold is going to be going for that 3-fact play we saw in game 1. If it works once, it'll do it twice as well. Machine shop going down for Magic Bullet. We'll be seeing the second factory added on here fairly soon. Just like we'll probably be seeing the third fact from Harold coming down. Vulture Speed started. And on the other side of the map, Mines are started. So I think Magic Bullet is just going ahead and already pre-preparing for the push from Herald, right? You don't need Vulture Speed if your opponent is running siege tanks up into your base. Like, you need those mines as fast as possible. But it looks like Herald Andrastes is actually going for Spider Mine Vulture Speed, and is going to be going for a Vulture push instead of a tank push. Now this could be what trips Magic Bullet up. If Herald Andrastes has both Vulture Speed and they're able to mine, like, ooh, but Magic Bullet does get in and gets the scout. They see 2 Vultures, only 2 factories as well. That's going to get the full scout there on Herald Andrastes. But... oh, and the mine going down in the main by the factory, that's actually really good because now Magic Bullet will have permanent information on these factories, right? Now, Herald is only going Vultures, but if in 2 minutes Magic Bullet goes, okay, let me see what's down here, and the mine is still there, it's not triggered, then the only answer is that Herald went pure Vulture. Now again, there's an issue here where Herald is going to have Vulture Speed, and Magic Bullet has Mines, and Mines don't exactly do anything against a Vulture, like, timing push. They will probably clean out these Marines, but we could also get a lucky Mine Splash that, oh no, these Marines are gone. Okay, so some splash damage going down on Magic Bullet's Vultures. It looks like this is going to be a win for Herald on the Vulture fight. I don't know why he's laying down mines. It's only Vulture v Vulture, but again, you just want to get those mines out for the map control they provide. And now here comes the dive into the main. We have 3 Vultures in production for Magic Bullet. Yeah, no, it looks like Herald Andrastes, their macro kind of slipped. They have 3 Vultures back at home. If those Vultures were up here, this would have been an easy clear for Herald, but there's that hesitation in their production, and it's 3 Vulture production versus 2, and the timing for, actually, never mind, the 3rd factory was added on that I missed completely, but the timing window of opportunity that Herald has is closing faster and faster, because even if they have even Vulture production, Magic Bullet does inherently have that defender's advantage where they can pull SCVs to repair their own Vultures. Also, shots coming down, okay, Magic Bullet shaves off a few Vultures, and now he's going to completely dive in on these Vultures, taking them all out, and it's kind of an exponential factor where every single Vulture that dies represents so much of the firepower of either side. And it looks like Herald Andrastes' Vultures are going to be completely cleared, and now all they have is these 5 Vultures back at home. No expansion, no base, and Magic Bullet is going to seesaw across the map. Herald Andrastes is actually going to move out. I almost disagree with this. I think they have to hold this ramp against the superior Vulture number of Magic Bullet, because here he comes. Now, we do have a lot of Vultures here, but it does come down to how this engagement is taken. If Herald's Vultures are stuck up the ramp, okay, he gets into a better position here. That's going to be good. But Magic Bullet dives a Vulture in just to get the scout. Doesn't really see much that he isn't already seeing. Dives a second Vulture in. I'm actually starting to think that that is a bad rally. But here comes the second fight, and it looks like this one should be going to Herald, but he pulls back at the last second. Both players playing very cautiously. We do have a tank, and we do have siege mode on the way, but again, how late is too late? We have spider mines all over the map, and you have to remember that Magic Bullet has 20 extra workers over their opponent, an entire extra base. The siege tank, if it moves one step forward, it will get absolutely shredded by these spider mines, and it might just get shredded by these Vultures as they continue to stream in and doing extra and extra damage. 5 Vultures being added on here from Magic Bullet. He's gone up to 5 factories, while Herald is still stuck on 3, and he can just keep he can just afford to keep streaming in Vultures. Now, this is the situation where you want to be laying down those spider mines, because you can absolutely guarantee that you are laying enough mines that the firepower of the siege tanks will not be enough to clear the mines. However, this fight, these rallies are not the greatest. Magic Bullet is trying to press their economic advantage by just keep flooding worker units in, but, oh, spider mines hit, take out 1 tank, very good. But there is a limit to how much your economic advantage can win the game when you're facing against siege tanks, which are infinite economic value. Like, actually. They're the most efficient unit in the game, bar none, except maybe the Zergling. But even then, if you were to say, do you want 100 siege tanks or 100 Zerglings, I think you know which one you're going to pick. have Vulture or Goliath's coming out here for Magic Bullet, taking out the barracks for Herald Andrastes. Herald's still only on 3 factories and 1 base. And Magic Bullet taking the time to assume complete map control. Tanks running into the minefield gets completely wiped. Herald is reset back down to 2 tank count. That's really bad. There's still 2. Well, actually no. Yeah, I guess Magic Bullet's going straight into these Goliath plays. They're preparing to take up their 3rd. I mean, this is an easy win in the bag for Magic Bullet, right? It's very unlikely that Herald Andrastes is going to get any sort of, like, the advantage that they need with this small set of units. Like, I'm pretty sure Magic Bullet, if they just A-moved into this, they probably would still do pretty okay. Not to mention the fact that they do have 2 siege tanks of their own. They can siege up at any point. However, unfortunately, we do have a siege in range of these tanks. 1 tank will get picked off. Well, actually... No, never mind. I was like, well, Herald actually is taking this fight, but then there are 6 Goliaths and 6 siege tanks coming up to back up that army. Still no expansion from Herald Andrastes. They are now 30 workers behind. Yeah, this is just completely unsustainable. I would not be surprised. We have the starport up. I mean, Magic Bullet could just tech straight to battle cruisers and probably just win the game from there. What is more likely and what is actually happening is we're seeing dropships, and that will allow Magic Bullet to just completely circumvent the army, drop 4 vultures in the main, kill every SCV, and take the economic victory. Yeah, the Goliaths actually even are doing a mine drag onto the 1 tank, and now Magic Bullet is going to be moving up to try and take position up on the high ground here to prevent the pressure that Herald Andrastes was putting on, to prevent that from being resupplied. And it looks like that's going to work. Herald is going to have to pull back. Probably maybe they can try to set up on this ramp here, but with how aggressive Magic Bullet is pushing those tanks forward, I think Herald is probably just going to have to run all the way back. We're finally getting that second command center set up. Yeah. Something doesn't have enough energy. I assume it is a comsat station, but our first dropship is out, so we should be seeing some Goliaths or Vultures loaded up into it as a drop in the main is prepared. It doesn't have anything in it yet, right? Yeah, no. So currently it is empty. We could see just Magic Bullet slowly begin to build up a dropship count and do a Doom drop in the main, which of course also will be a killing blow. I guess we just have to keep in mind that Magic Bullet is still 2 factories ahead. And you can really, like, you can look at the bases and say, oh, obviously Magic Bullet's ahead, they're up a base, they're 30 workers ahead, but they're also ahead on the factory count. Which again is kind of a trickle-down effect of the fact that they have such a huge economic lead. You can see just how many extra siege tanks that Magic Bullet is able to field through having that massive economic advantage. Tanks just running into fire and dying. Vultures might try to run up here and get some kills on the SCVs, but that is going to be a GG from Herald Andrastes, and Magic Bullet is going to take us to a 1-1 situation here. Let's look at that score screen for people who are interested in that. Magic Bullet with an easy 6,000 point lead over their opponent. And, okay, we were having some incorrect splash screens there. We are now tied 1-1 going into game 3 of our first match. Now this is a good match to start off a cast on. A good, solid 3-game series. Let's hop right into it on our final map, which is Polyploid 1.61 as I refined my A-Stream OBS scene. 1,500 minerals per patch. 9 patches per base. In the bottom right corner, we have Magic Bullet, the Orange Terran, representing 2-Fact, 2 Furious. And in the bottom right corner is Herald Andrastes in the red, representing Let Us Attack. Both players on match point. This is the deciding game that will set the pace for this series going forward. is Magic Bullet going to have the 2-0 comeback with their solid mech TVT play? Or is Harold Andrastes going to pull another fast, quick, pressured attack with a 66% win rate, technically, and get the win after Magic Bullet was able to hold in Game 2? Or are either of these players going to switch up their strategies and do something wacky? UED music is so good. Scouts going out. Magic Bullet once again getting the first scout, and Harold Andrastes. Oh, he does actually commit to the fight there. Magic Bullet getting 1 kill on the SCV, already taking an SCV lead. That is actually kind of huge. Harold Andrastes is, of course, going to be getting this last scout here, so they're actually 2 SCVs behind on their economic macro there. Harold trying to get SCVs to fight. Oh, stealing an 8 resource mineral patch. The Marine will finish this SCV off. Magic Bullet once again going for that fast expansion. I think that Magic Bullet has identified that as long as they just play it safe, they can get this expansion up. I think they are very comfortable, because really, like, they almost defended Game 1 as well, so I think Magic Bullet has made the assessment that they are they're able to defend Harold's aggression. And so I would assume that Magic is extremely comfortable with taking the space so early. We do see the single Marine added on just for that little bit of early defense. We have Vultures coming up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mines first from Magic Bullet again, just to ensure that they can defend from a Siege Tank container push. Harold finally is going to be getting that first scout, but they will be seeing the Marine and the Vulture. Actually, it might just be returning home, and it looks like they are. Vulture's out for Harold. Yep, Mines from Magic Bullet. And the 2 factories from Harold are going to be adding on machine shops as they also add on their 3rd factory. Magic Bullet will be scouting this, so they will know that what their opponent is doing is pretty much the same thing they were doing in games 1 or 2, which is that 3-fac timing attack. Vulture is going out to get the scout. Marine catches the Vulture, gets a few free damage on it. The miss! Wow, that's pretty wild that Marine is gonna live. Vulture, wow, amazing Vulture micro here from Magic Bullet. Great running shots, kills that Vulture before he's able to actually get over and see what Magic Bullet is doing. And Harold Andrastes is once again flying in the dark here. They can maybe assume that there's an expansion, but I mean, can they really? They've seen a Marine, they've seen 2 Vultures already. Like, can they actually make that assumption if we do have an expansion? Magic Bullet is going to be trying to fight up this ramp against these Marines before Harold gets their forces up. Spider mines are completed, by the way, which means if they can get up here and they can mine these factories, the siege tanks that Magic Bullet or that Harold is going for will not be as effective. Mines being laid down at the expansion, at the choke. And as soon as Magic Bullet sees that it is a tank from their opponent, actually they do see that it's tank. They have a flying barracks, so yeah, Magic Bullet is being pretty comfortable with these spider mines being laid out, as the siege tanks can't really do much against these until Herald gets scan. And with that, we are in the Game 2 situation. Game 1, the push kind of took Magic Bullet from surprise, got him out of position. But in Game 2 here, we're seeing that what really is happening is that Magic Bullet correctly scouts their opponent and is responding correctly. They're laying the mines down, and then they're just pushing that economic advantage. You can see the production tab has exploded for Magic Bullet. And they're also adding on their tanks, they're adding on their machine shop. A bit of an awkward SimCity here. I'm pretty sure the tanks are going to actually have to run through the mineral line if they're built. Actually, no, they're being built from this factory. Never mind, this is the one with the machine shop, but the point still stands. Here comes the push out from Herald Andraste. Some SCVs were trying to come with it, but they got caught up. And now if, again, there are spider mines, it looks like the mines out here were taken out. Oh, huge mine hit. Really damages those siege tanks. And that tank health is a resource. It limits how far and how aggressively Herald is able to push this attack. Since now these tanks they've taken their one guaranteed mine hit. And now the next mine, if it happens, is going to be absolutely tearing through it. These tanks, these vultures are already out, baiting. Oh my gosh, huge mine hit. Another huge mine hit coming through. Wow. Yeah, this is in the game. That's it. Herald's one advantage was the fact that they were able to field a larger starting army, a larger, stronger starting army. But now that that's been kind of reset, they're going to have to re-macro up at the same time that Magic Bullet has already been macroing up and is adding on 2 extra factories. Yeah, now we're actually going to have the Vulture run by into the main base, almost blocked on the thing, but, I mean, this is just GG, right? You lay mines on the ramp, have Vultures come into the main, start killing SCVs. I think they might be out of spider mines. Oh, there we go. Some mines being laid down, but we are going to have vultures running up into the mineral line. That attack definitely could have gone better, but we are seeing Herald is dropping down to 15, 14, 13, 12, 11 SCVs before this is cleared up. Oh my god, and a huge mine shot, taking this tank down to 2 HP. Yeah, this has been Magic Bullet, more like Magic Mines. Magic Mines XXL. He's actually, these SCVs being pulled for. Magic Bullet, he's kind of identified just how far ahead he is in this series and is... Come on, no, pull the boys. Commit to the boy pull. Unfortunate. We are not going to be able to see the sweet, sweet stylings of the pulled boys, but, I mean, yeah, one shot kills both of these tanks, and Herald's going to GG, and Magic Bullet is going to get the 2-0 reverse sweep. Here's their score. Nearly 10,000 points ahead of their opponent. Let's go ahead and switch back to our score overlay. Let's do the right score overlay. Yeah, Magic Bullet with the 2-0 sweep, reverse sweep, but Herald did still get a point on the board, so good job to them. But that first point for the teams on Tier 3 is going to be going to Magic Bullet, meaning that the pace of the game is really going to be set for 2 Fact 2 Furious. They've won 20% of the Tier 3 series. Our next match is going to be Dada. It's going to be Phoenix 2470 versus Dada 78-64-1. If this is a match, it's going to be a Zerg versus Zerg, so we're on to the best series of the game of the day, and if this was a game of who has the bigger number, Dada wins by a long shot. Let's hop into it. A stream, okay. First match on Good Night. Dada playing as the teal Zerg for Lettuce Attack in the bottom right corner, while Phoenix 2470 is playing as the dark blue Zerg Brood, representing 2 Fact, 2 Furious, and even though this Zerg is unable to build factories, I know that in their heart they're building 2 Fact builds. Dada, it is numbers. Numbers can work however we want them to, Dada. If this was a match about who has the higher number, Dada would win by a long shot. But this is not a match about who can count the highest. It is a match about who can make as many little Zerglings as possible. And we'll just have to wait and see who that player is. An extractor trick from Phoenix 2470. Getting that extra drone out. Looks like Phoenix going for the 2 hatch, second hatch here. Dada going for the faster gas, so we should be seeing Zergling speed coming from them a bit faster. Unless we're going for the 1 hatch mutas as fast as possible. It looks like Phoenix, meanwhile, well, they had the resources for their second hatchery. Okay, it is finally going to be going down. And at the same time, Dada's going to be putting theirs down. Looks like we're about even on Zergling count. Phoenix's Overlord is going to scout Dada's base. Dada is seeing the Overlord coming from this direction. Will implicitly know where their opponent is, and they start sending their Overlord that way. And now we get our first fight. It looks like, I mean, I'm just going to say that that looked like a bad engagement for Phoenix, but Dada pulls back and lets Phoenix come in. We have the extra Zerglings from Dada coming in, getting a bunch of free slaps in on the other Zerglings of Phoenix, but no permanent pressure is being applied. We have a drone in place for a third base. Phoenix going heavily into the macro here. Zergling speed on the way for Dada, and we are hitting that 300 minerals, and we do in fact get the third hatch from Phoenix. What? This is the type of build. We're either getting insanely mind gamesy or insanely greedy. All I know about going 3 hatch in ZVZ is that the only time I've seen like high level players do it is the only time I've seen high level players go 3 hatch this quickly is if they're flash playing random and they're trying to throw their ZVZ match as fast as possible. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see if Phoenix 2470 has a plan, is juking out their opponent, or if they truly are trying to throw as fast as possible. Dada getting their Zerglings to come in. They have a nice line set up. Both players, I don't think... Oh my gosh, we have rhythmic dancing routines being performed by either side. But an amazing surround here from Dada, collapsing in on the Zerglings of Phoenix. But unfortunately, Sometimes Zerg is very unpredictable, much like how they are in the campaign, in the story. Sometimes they just kind of tear each other apart, and we have to respect that. Sunken Colony being set up. Here comes the second wave of Dada's Zergling army, but we do have Sunken Colonies going up in the main. We have more drones coming up in the main. The Sunken Colony also coming up in the main. But these Zerglings are already getting up in here, and we're going to have to see how many drones they're able to kill. 17 drones. They have to get 9 in order to even out this attack. They get 3 so quickly. We get the Sunken Colony starting morphing so fast, but we get another drone. The drones are trying to fight the Zerglings, but Jesus Christ. I know I said they have to get 9 to even up the supply. They got it. Those Zerglings absolutely got what they needed to out of that fight. However, Phoenix has 3 hatches able to produce. Dada getting Sunken Colonies of their own. They have their lair up. I mean the 2 Zerglings there, they were just watching their friends die horribly. Yeah. So, as for all our Zerg players watching, don't do that. Don't fight Zerglings with drones. It's very silly. You'll look very silly when you're in the CPL Tier 3 Finals and you're like, it's only 4 Zerglings. I'm sure my 12 drones can fight 4 Zerglings. No. No. Don't believe those lies. Drones have paper bones. Drones have paper skin and glass bones. Lightstorm's saying that they still have more drones, and that is true. However, that's also because they have 3 actually, they aren't even building anything from the 3rd hatch. But it is true, but Dada is also getting Mutalisks behind this. So there's a huge temp of... Oh, wow, we're actually going, fucking the Light Swarm Hydra ZVZ plan. Okay. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. We have the Muta set up, I guess. Oh my god, is this so... We're gonna die? Oh, wow. Let's do 15 damage. Well, this is a bit of a pickle for Dada then. And they also don't know that this 3rd base exists either, and now that Phoenix is getting this up. Huh. I mean, these Zerglings could literally just run up here and kill this base immediately, but again, Dada doesn't know about it. However, they should probably spot it as they're, like, flying mutas around and just, like, checking around. Yeah, but we are going to get mutas coming in and putting on a bit of pressure. They should be able to get this OV. Okay, they get the Overlord. And really, what Dada needs to do is just keep trying to pick off Hydras as they're spawning, because mutas will 100% deal with these Hydras as efficiently as possible. But, okay, Phoenix trying to take the fight here. Oh boy. More Zerglings reinforcing for Dada. Okay, we should be able to get this Overlord. Okay, now we will finally... No way! You saw the creep! You saw the creep. You saw the creep. Dada, please tell me you saw the creep. You can at least kill this Overlord. Dada could at least kill that Overlord. Dada, this is actually insane. Like, you literally saw the creep. Okay, we do get the Overlord, though. Dada tunnel visioned in on the drone line. Wow. ZVZ does this to me. I have issues with ZVZ. Alright, but we do have more Zerglings coming in. I mean, at what point, like, these Zerglings probably could run I guess, no, if Phoenix responds correctly, you can just block the ramp here. But I mean, Dada could, in theory, maybe try, you know, running past here and getting up into the main. Like if they can get like 12, 10-ish Zerglings up into this main here, they will be able to like do a ton of damage. Okay, Zerglings diving onto the Sunken Colony. Really good fight engagement here from Dada. And now the mutas are also coming in. They aren't really needed. Zerglings can fight Hydras just fine on their own. I mean, this should be a win for Dada from here. There weren't enough Zerglings. The natural is going to fall. The third base, of course, is still alive, but I mean, what is going to be here to defend? Zerglings are very good units. And they're going to take out this hatchery. 5 Zerglings in production for Phoenix, but I mean, Dada's just going to back off. They're still operating off of only 12 drones, though. Also, the mutas could swing around and start pressuring this hatchery. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, don't. They're running to the top left. Dada has correctly realized that their opponent has a third base. Where is it? One can only wonder where that third base could be. Okay. But we're now on 2 bases versus 2 bases. Dada does have the tech lead still. They are still on Mutalisks. And they also have the Ling advantage. However, 8 extra drones is a lot of extra drones in ZVZ. Like, that is an insane amount of advantage over your opponent. When you have, like, almost double your opponent's drone count, that is never actually good. Phoenix is also developing the Hydralisk upgrades as well, so we will have faster Hydra movement and attack range, and that is what they need to be able to contend against the Mutalisks. However, we are having an engagement here. Well, hold on, do we have, like, Carapace upgrades or something? Okay, we don't, but it seemed like Phoenix's Zerglings were fighting really well. Drone coming up. Yeah, I mean, and this is really just, again, double workers for Phoenix. You get to do stuff like this. Sunken Colonies, unfortunately, are not that good versus Hydras. Hydras, I think, take 75% damage from Sunkens. And when that, I mean, and even in that case, they do their full 10, which is very fast. Well, that was an okay fight, I guess. I mean, Phoenix just is going to continuously build up their forces. They're getting their missile attack upgrades. We're getting Zerg matches. We're getting fights. However, Muse is going to be coming in, put pressure on the base here. I still think like this hatchery is a bit vulnerable. So that should allow Dada to find at least some effectiveness with these mutas. Now that the Hydras are coming back, and those Hydras do have range, which makes it very hard for the Mutalisks to continuously engage on their opponent. I never pick off that OV, damn. Yeah. We do just have a guy chilling. Yeah, I don't know. This seems just like it's a lost game for Dada. I mean, the solution is to just drone up insanely aggressively and take advantage of Phoenix's lack of map presence, because when you play Hydra ZVZ, you do lose out on that map presence until you have your critical mass. And so you have to take advantage of that, expand up to your own third base, drone up really aggressively, and get the late game tech. Like, which Phoenix is working on. They're finally getting their lair. So the tech difference between Dada and Phoenix is wrapping up, is closing in on them. We have some kind of something going on here. Dada is... We do have 7 mutas. 7 Mutalisks and a Dream. Main base for Dada is actually drying up a little bit. So is the main for Phoenix. Spore colonies being set back up at the natural. Okay, up to 10 Mutalisks, which is a lot. I think you need like 2 Hydras for every Muta once you get like the higher numbers. Yeah, that's just an unfortunate attack. Again, I think Dada was correct in that we are looking at a game that's nearly impossible to come back from. However, that is partly because like when you get into the situation and you're not the Hydra Zerg, you have to get that expansion up, and you just kind of have to bite the bullet and say, okay, God damn it, I'll use my 8 Mutalisks or so to keep the Hydra zoned in on the base, and then you just have to drone up behind those 8 mutas. You can't really get aggressive with it. So there is a bit of that unfortunate mess right there. All right. It's now 31 drones to 18, only a 13 drone difference. However, it is a 70 to 60 supply difference. Dada continually making Mutalisks. Yeesh. Yeah. Okay, +1 carapace being produced. That is a good upgrade to get. Actually, is it a good upgrade to get, or would you want to get attack? Because the main reason why carapace is so important on Mutalisks is because it basically acts as +3 armor in Muta v Muta battles. But when you're fighting Hydralisks, I mean, you're only saving 1 day. What is going on down there? Okay, so we have the flank being set up by Phoenix's army. Now we're seeing sort of, well, yeah. This is a microcosm of why going Hydra ZVZ is usually a bad idea, because Hydras are bad against Zerglings and Hydras are bad against Mutalisks, which are the 2 most common types of units. Dada finally sees the third base, decides to fight over Spore Colonies, which, I mean, goes okay for them. They don't lose any Mutalisks. But now Phoenix is going to start moving out on the map. They have a larger count of Hydras now. I guess that really does, we do start to wonder, where does the game go from here? How does it develop? I mean, does Phoenix just get to the point where they have the critical mass where they can just A-move over to their opponent? I think the answer to that question is probably yes. Oof. Okay, Zergling's catching them out. Great engagement here from Dada, shaving off as many Hydras as possible before the big move out, the big push. Yeah, I just don't think, It definitely is a question. I think Dada probably needs, I mean, okay, right, it's 2 base versus 3 base, but we're also on 4 hatch versus 3 hatch. Which is, again, like, Phoenix has, like, an extra 75%, like, production on this. Dada's saying, look, I'm tier 3, I don't know how to fight this build. Dada, you cast games. Yeah. This build, Hydra build, is if you can't kill them, if they actually get to the point where they're able to start massing Hydras, you just have to bite the bullet and like, match them and go toe for toe, and just settle for having, like, parity there. You could rush Hive and go, like, Ultras, or maybe rush Hive and go Defilers for Plague. But it's not going to be pretty either way. Yeah, here's a big engagement here. That's not good for those Mutalisks. And we also have Hydras stationed over there, shredding off Zerglings. These Hydras will die, but I mean, we have like 20 Hydras in the back here. Zergling's getting a kind of nice, somewhat attack there. But here comes the moment, right? Hydras +1 attack, +0 defense, about to be +2, +1. Yeah, I mean, Sunken Colonies don't fight Hydras well. They take like 5 shots to kill one. I think it's 3. Yeah. Ooh, actually, hold on. Mutas are real good, but we do have the Hydra Flood just continuing to pour in. Zerglings are going to do their best, but we've hit the point where Zerglings don't connect fast enough with the Hydras. The Hydras do have range. And that is going to be one hell of a game 1 for Phoenix. 24-70. Dada played extremely well themselves, but unfortunately they just did not make the correct decisions when faced with the Hydra ZVZ. That was a 22-minute game. I'm pretty sure that was faster than all of our TVTs. All right. There's the score screen for anybody who cares about it. Let's go ahead and get our splash screen, score screen up. And get that point on the board for Phoenix. All right. Now our next match, our next game, is going to be on Eclipse 1.2. The 2-player map that you don't have to scout on. You can just be as aggressive as you want. In the top right corner, we have Phoenix 24-70 versus their opponent, Dada 78-64-1 in the bottom right, as the Green Zerg trying to get the comeback for Let Us Attack. Now last match, Magic Bullet was able to get the comeback for 2-Fact-2 Furious. Is Dada going to be able to get the reverse sweep against their opponent? Or is Phoenix going to close out the game, force a Hydra ZVZ, force Dada back into their uncomfort zone, and win another game that way? You can only wait and see. Overlords crossing, beginning to move across the map as you do in ZVZ, to the single base where their opponent will be at. That is a really fast drone from Phoenix. Wait, what the fuck? Okay, hold on. Is this, what kind of pool is this? Hold on. What did Phoenix, was this a 4? This had to have been a 5 pool, because you build the pool and then maybe get your 5th drone, but holy shit. Hold the phone. Phoenix with the 5 pool. Learning the tricks of The 4-pool lifeguards must have been practicing with them in the semifinal. Were the 4-pool lifeguards in the semifinals? Quick. were the 4-pool lifeguards in the semifinals? I think they were, right? I might be wrong about that. But Simon, can you obs the game? I am obs. I'm trying to remember who was in the semis. We have a 5-pool here. Zerglings are coming. Okay. Alright. But huh, yeah, I guess 9-pool just kind of shits on 5-pool, huh? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's okay. Well, this was okay. Well, you know what? You have to throw those out there sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta throw a 5-pool. You gotta keep your opponent on edge. Okay? Although I would love to see the like hard commit to 4-pool in game 3. Even though I think this actually fares worse against this build. But yeah, great. I mean, Dada gets the build order win here. They get the defensive win, and that is going to be that, I guess. No, fucking. Why? Yes, let's go. Okay, we have speed coming down for Dada. We have the second hatchery coming down for Phoenix, right in the thick of it, to reinforce Zerglings as quickly as possible. My God. Phoenix may be losing the game, but they are saying that they have heart. They're not going to give up. They're gonna never give up and never surrender. They're gonna keep on fighting. I mean, and then they're gonna lose anyways. Oh. Well, you know what? They are even on drones. So mean. Is it really? Like, is it really? Alright, this is just funny. Yeah, we should see the GG here once this hatch dies. I wonder if you could, like, sunken rush. Like you're playing against, like, ZVP, and they're getting cannons set up. Could you just, like, actually get the Zerglings, the hatchery, and then, like, have the sunken colonies? Because sunken colonies outranged the photon cannons. Zune is saying mute is greater than sunken rush. But are they funnier than the sunken? Okay. I see. All right. Well, Dada gets the +1. Here's our score. And we are going to move back over to our splash screen with Dada going up a single point. Both players on match point as we're going to move into game 3 of our second match of the day of our Zerg versus Zerg. We've had some weird shit happening. I mean, you really can't get more, like, a more drastic change than going from Hydra ZVZ to a 5-pool. It really is just, like, the complete opposite. In this game on Polypoid 1.61, in the bottom left corner, playing As the mustard poop brown Zerg for lettuce attack, we have Dada 78-64-1 against their opponent in the top left. Phoenix 24-70. How is that brown? This is brown. It's like a brownish yellow. It's like a mustard yellow. It's like a horseradish mustard yellow. That's olive? This isn't olive. What the fuck are you talking about? No, it's not. Who taught you colors? What? Olive is like a green. No, olive is like a green color. There's no green in this. Shibatarian saying I think it's olive. Okay, maybe. Maybe it's olive. Maybe. It might be olive, okay? Have you ever seen an olive? Yeah, but like, there's like green olives. Like, if you look at all, like, there's, I mean, I don't know, it could be a black olive. I don't fucking know. Shit. Alright. Fucking both players going for similar builds. It looks like Dot is going for overpool, while Phoenix is just going for straight 9 pool. Black olives are black. Well, yeah, but that's because there's black olives and then there's the green olives, and like they're green. Alright, 3 Zerglings coming up for both players, even on drone count. The only difference is Dada does have gas production in. I was saying this drone massively messed with my... Oh, we did have a scouting drone. Oh, shit. There's also a black color in Brewer. Yes, black is also an olive color. What the fuck? Okay, so we're getting a look into the mind of Dada. They saw the scouting drone and assumed that it was also a 5 pool once again. So that would explain why they're being defensive and checking up on the base here. Protecting the ramp. However, Phoenix just dives in, sees that there's Zerglings on the ramp, pulls out, and we do have an expansion coming up for Phoenix. So I think Phoenix might be looking to take us into another Hydra ZVZ. No way. Phoenix. No! Oh my god. Dude, and why would Dada ever scout there, right? However, actually, I don't know. If Dada like just sends random units around, they will find this third base. Because they will get suspicious because Dada in the first game knows that Phoenix is going to be trying to take these third bases. And so they need to be able to... So he needs to be able to, like, confirm where these third bases are. Like, he needs to confirm that drone location. And if these Zerglings move to this third, or if they don't... Or if they don't. Well. Oh my god, how embarrassing. Zune is saying it's very weird to check for third. He does have to check for third because, I mean, this is about how fast Phoenix took their third in game 1. And we do have a massive Zergling attack here, diving on top of the drones. And we are going to be seeing a bit of a repeat of game 1 here. Zergling's getting into the main, picking off so many extra drones. Yeah, massive economic damage going down. They do see the evolution chamber, so Dada does know that it is going to be the Hydra strat. Or, you know, getting the spore colony so that they can transition into Hydras. And when that happens, Dada is going to have to make the correct decision in this game. Or they're going to keep Ling flooding. Now, it does look like Phoenix is just adding on the extra Sunkens to protect from the Zerglings, because Dada isn't even going for... What? Okay, if we actually do have Drop Lords surpassing, like, bypassing the Sunken Colonies, Dada is a god Zerg. Dada, please. Do the Drop Lord strategy. This is fucking hilarious. Do it, Dada. No, don't fight this. Oh, I guess he can also just fight the Sunkens. Or can't. No, he can. He can. Yeah, okay, well. Well. I don't think Phoenix is going to be able to... I don't think Phoenix is going to be able to Zasagi their way out of this one, guys. Looks like Dada, the absolute monster, is going to be taking game 3. And with that, putting a point on the board with for the Let Us Attack team. Tying up the Tier 3, 1-1. So, I mean, great play from all of our players so far. Dada, Jesus Christ. If you're gonna stay in the game that long, just kill all their buildings. Alright. GG's, there's our score screen. And let's move over to our point screen and give Dada the 2-1 win, putting a point on the board for Let Us Attack. We're now even 1-1. And we're going to move on to our next match, which is going to be Tech AJPU versus Marding B. In what I think is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. I was also saying some my mom was a very nice lady. You take that back. Time to go ban Dada. Okay. Dada, you're getting timed out for 30 seconds for this slander. No. We're going to hop into our first game of Marding B versus Tech AJPU. Let's go ahead and switch our stream over. And in the top right corner of Good Night, we have Genesis 7, otherwise known as Marding B, playing as the Pink Zerg Brood. And in the bottom right corner, we have Tech AJPU playing as the Purple Protoss for 2 Fact 2 Furious. Genesis 7, of course, playing for the Let Us Attack team. See what these players have learned in their time in their league and how they're going to be approaching this matchup. Okay, scouting probe off of Pylon pretty fast. Renamed a unit. We're going to name a unit Dada. You know what? We're going to name this Overlord Dada because this Overlord is the Remnants. Dada, they finished their match, they won, and then they said to their fellow Let Us Attack... Oh, wait, no, hold on. Yeah, they said to their fellow Let Us Attack player, they said, my child... My teammate, my partner. I will watch over you as you go and destroy the Protoss scum. And that's what this Overlord's doing. He's just chilling, having a good time. Going scouts the wrong base for Marting B. Spawning pool going down. Sforge built. We should be seeing, I assume, a Nexus and then a Gateway and cannons. Well, actually, we're going to be seeing the cannon first. But then we're going to see the Gateway. And then we'll see the Nexus. We do have 6 Zerglings in production here for Genesis. As our players begin to just kind of play regular macro stuff. Second cannon before Nexus. I mean, that's not the worst idea, considering that we do have. Actually, no, it is kind of a bad idea. We have a bunch of most of the Zerglings. He only sees 4, and he only saw 6, and 4 of them were chasing a probe. So you probably didn't need to get the second cannon so quickly. I would have been able to be building that Nexus already. But a decision's a decision. And scouting probe is taken care of. A bit of a harassment attempt, but I think these 4 Zerglings, they're just going to post out outside the main. Just keep the Protoss honest. Yeah. Zealot and probe moving out. Kind of doing some sort of micro. Looks like, okay, Tech is going to be going to put some pressure on the Zerg. Not the greatest Zealot micro in the world. But he got a Zergling, though. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to continue that aggression. Cybernetics Core coming down, Hydrogen coming down, as is standard for both players in this matchup. Would expect to be seeing Tech, or expect this to be seeing Marting begin transitioning into some kind of Hydra bust, as that's really good. And I know it's a little late, CPL has ended, but as a Protoss player, if you're playing Zerg, like, I feel like if you're in the PvZ matchup at a lower level, you should literally just only practice Hydra busts and only practice defending Hydra busts. It is the most, like, important aspect of this matchup in how quickly the game is decided at that point. Because Zerg, you can force Protoss to have to respond and defend a Hydra bust. If they don't do it correctly, you just win. If they do it correctly, you just back off and continue macroing, and then you've go into the longer game. And if you're the Protoss, you just defend a Hydra bust. You just do that, and that's what earns you the right to play a longer macro game. We do have 3 hatches going down. It looks like we are at 973, or some rough approximation of it. So extra gateways being added on. Love to see it. Bit of an awkward placement. Here, because if you build the extra gateway and then like a pylon, you're gonna get Dragoons stuck in there, but it's fine, I guess. Where is Dada? Oh shit, oh, this is probably Dada. He's all the way over here, he just moved back over here. It was like, okay, scouting is pointless. He's gonna defend the 3rd base, monitor the workers. First Corsair is out. He's gonna get some harassment done, but shouldn't get any kills, as it is only a single Corsair and there are Hydras out already. You just have to keep watch of this Overlord. Make sure it stays alive. Yeah, I mean, the Corsair getting the scout off sees that it is in fact going to be a Hydra bust. They're going to have to start teching up into... They're actually getting Zealot legs and +1 ground attack before going into their Templar archives. Adding on the cannons, love to see it. They are banking a little bit much. We won't criticize the tier 3 players for being tier 3 and not spending their resources as fast as possible, but you definitely could have started that Templar Archives a bit earlier, and honestly that could be what decides the game, because High Templar are absolutely required to defend against these Hydra busts. But of course, an alternative to that is just getting an absolute assload of photon cannons, which Tech AJPU is not skimping on. Meanwhile, back at home, Dada getting some more drones, macroing up, getting 9 rounds of Hydras at a time. You're going to pick off the gateway, probably going to pick off the forge. Ooh, hold on. And that +1 does finish. I think Tech AJP, I think Genesis had a chance to be able to deny that +1, but it is doing it is finished, which means those Zealots are doing all right. Tech rebuilding the gateway and forges at the front. Second forge going up in the main, just so that they will be able to have it. Yep. Once again coming down. Hydra's streaming in. I don't think... Actually, no. Hydra's 100... This is bustable. No! Marty B! Micro forward! Micro... No! What are you guys doing? Oh my god. See... Dada, this is what happens when you stay at the third base and talk shit in my chat, is you don't monitor these Hydras and they start running off doing whatever they want. However, that shouldn't matter. This game should be over. The Hydras do eventually bust through, and that is going to be a point on the board for 2Fact2 Furious taking... No, that's going to be a point on the board for Let Us Attack. I'm getting my... This is, there. There's going to be a point on the board for Let Us Attack. And yeah, we do have a Dark Templar coming in, but there are not enough Corsairs to scare the Overlords away to be able to actually defend with the Dark Templar. And with that, we're going to have a GG here in favor of Marting B. Alright, let's go to that score screen. R&B with the about 7,000 extra points over their opponent. Let's go ahead and turn our splash screen on. Put the point on the board for Marting B with an excellent Hydra bust. Yeah. Moving on, we're going to have game 2 on Eclipse. This is going to be Eclipse 1.1. So a bit of a retro throwback in terms of maps. Let's go ahead and hop into the game. And let's get started. On the top right corner, we have Tech... Oh God, why did they pick these colors? We have Tech AJPU playing as the blue Protoss for their team. 2Fact2 Furious. Looking to have that 2-0 reverse sweep like we had in the first and second match. In the bottom left corner, we have Genesis 7, otherwise known as Marting B, playing as the Zerg, the red Zerg, actually the pink Zerg, but looking to get the first 2-0 of the day, the first 2-0 of the finals tier 3, and maybe the first and final 2-0, depending on how competitive these matches get. looking to really solidify, really prove that they have learned so much in their time in the CPL. Both players looking to show off that that knowledge to really kind of flex on their opponent. Probe is getting the scout off. We have the forge in construction. I will say personally, as a Protoss player, I've stopped kind of scouting off of Pylon. I don't think it's like, I don't think you get that much extra information, and you get to have like an extra mineral trip or two with your scouting probe if you scout off of Forge or Gateway. But then again, I lost like every match I played in the CPL, so don't listen to me. Martin B getting their expansion set up. Tech looks like they're going to be building their same set of cannons. Cannons Gateway, Cannon Nexus. Which is fine. It's a very safe build. However, I think he really needs to like start recognizing the scouting patterns of like when he actually has to be that safe. In Tier 3, you always play the safest possible like build because you don't want to die to random bullshit. But as you get better, and especially as you like are getting better at keeping the scouting probe alive, getting it over here, you need to be able to start recognizing when, like, what is the triggers for having to play safe. So for example, if you're having your scouting probe coming up and you see 6 Zerglings spawn and 4 of them are being sent to chase your scouting probe, you can build the Nexus. You probably don't even need to build the Gateway. Actually, yeah, you probably don't even ever need to build the Gateway, because if you get the Nexus, if you go Cannon Nexus, like, the Gateway is literally just to body block Zerglings, and so it doesn't matter if the Gateway, like, literally just started or is already finished. It's gonna body block those Zerglings anyways. So, yeah. Probe's still alive in the main. Very good micro there on for Tech. Yep. The Zerglings get the scout off. Their main purpose is just to keep the Protoss honest and not like get any like weird tech, just to make sure that Protoss is still doing Protoss things. Maybe someone in chat will have a better idea of this, but whenever I am playing PvZ, I never know when I'm supposed to get the assimilator. Like, it always, the timing, every timing for the assimilator just feels really awkward once you're like trying to also make sure you have cannons and constant zealot production and forges. More Zerglings coming out, or actually the 4 remaining Zerglings are going to join their brothers in arms. Hydra range in being researched. So yeah, Martin B is just going to go for another Hydra bust here. Probably the same build they went last game, so that sort of rough approximation of a 973. Shimmer's saying like at 16 for gas, I think. Okay. That sounds about right. There's the extra 2 drones to help help with the mining, and now that it is just going to be straight Hydra productions from here on out. Forge gate get okay. Alright, Zealots are going to move out. Zerglings are going to have to retreat. Early game, you probably need roughly 3 times as many Zealots, or as many Zerglings than Zealots to be able to take fights like that. Stargate finishing up for Tech. The timing I've always heard for like Stargate to Citadel is you want to start the Citadel basically, like, you don't, like, the double gateways is after you get Citadel, but you want to get Citadel as soon as you have the money for it after you start the Stargate, which usually is around when the Stargate is at 50%. Which is a small optimization, I guess. But double gateways. +1 attack being started up for tech here. And once the Corsair spawns, we should... Okay, so this first Corsair, their main purpose is the scout, but they are going to see a lot of Hydras and actually take a lot of damage and be scared back. That's actually huge. Yeah, we're going to need to see like another, like 2 straight up just entire lines of cannons for this to not go absolutely abysmally for our Protoss player. We also need to see that Templar Archive start like right now for them to actually be able to defend this. There's no Overlord with the Hydras yet, and we do have somewhat constant Corsair production. It's lulled here, but again, we need to see that Templar Archives. It is impossible. We have a lot of Zealots, but I mean, Hydras scale insanely well against literally everything. So you 100% have to have those storms or those DTs to do correct zoning. Especially since we have our 1 Overlord. We have Overlords beginning to move across the map. We have Corsairs in place to catch them. But again, with these fast Hydras and only 2 Corsairs, it's going to be really hard to actually find this. Shimmer in the chat saying High Templar need to be started by 6:30, and you know what? That makes perfect sense. Yeah, no. Marty B is going to pull the trigger here, and although we have a lot of cannons, I don't think this is going to be enough cannons. We need like cannons literally this entire base. Like yeah, I don't think this is enough. Like just straight up. Hydras are going to swarm in, tear through the cannons. The Zealots won't really have any positioning. They're getting torn through as well. The probes are going to come out, and when you're using probes to fight Hydras, you know you're in a rough spot. The Zealots doing a great job body blocking for the cannons, but the Hydras back off. They're going to be able to shred off this outer layer, and then there's only 3 cannons here to defend, and that is going to be GG. And Marting B is going to be our first player with the 2-0 victory for the team. Let us attack. Templar Archives is finished, but still no DTs, no High Templar, no Storm. All the money going into cannons right now. And like we said, like cannons are not going to fight Hydras that well once Hydras actually bust this. Yeah, that is, Yep. Second verse, same as the first, and this verse is favoring Marting B. All right. That's our first 2-0 of the day. Very impressive. Look at our score. Very close score-wise. It really is just that High Templar timing that needs to be filled out. And this is these games are part of why I'm always. I like if you're ever Protoss help or whatever, and somebody's like, "What should I practice?" Like, just practice defending Hydra busts, because like Hydra busts are they're really easy to defend, but you have to like have that practice down. You have to have those Templar Archive timings, because when you don't, you get games like this where there really is no reason for the Protoss to lose in that fashion. So yeah, but wonderful play, really well executed Hydra busts. Again, it's like Zerg. If you're in the lower tiers, just practice those busts. You get wins like that with Hydra busting. And with that, we have a 2-0 lead, or we have a 2-0 victory for Marting B and a 2-1 lead for our Let Us Attack players. Now my throat is getting a little hoarse here, so we might be taking a very short break and then hopping into our last 2 matches. Yeah. So we're gonna take probably about a 20 to 30 minute break. Let's say fuck it. Let's say a 20-minute break. And then when we return, we're gonna be covering Vint versus Ingo and Z-Man versus Shimmer. Now, one of the things to note about these two matches is that for the Let Us Attack team, only one of these players has to win for Let Us Attack to take Tier 3. But for our Too Fat, Too Furious players, both of the players will have to win if they are going to have a victory in this tier. Shit. Okay. So, with that, I don't have a break screen set up, which I've been meaning to do, but that's okay. Hold on, what is this? Okay, we have this. We're gonna be back in about 15 minutes. You know what? Let's just say, so it is 12:50 right now. So let's say, remaining back. Well, let's say 1:10 EST. We'll be back. All right. Stay tuned. I'll also let me get this set up, put over on the side here. All right. Okay. Be right back. All right. We're going to be walking back into our matches here. And with that, we're going to be coming back in for Vint versus Ingo 505. Our second to last match for today for the cast. And it is going to be a Terran versus Protoss. So get those Pusagis and Tisagis ready. Now, looks like we have a lot of... We threw up the prediction to see who's gonna... What people thought. Who's gonna take these matches. It seems like we at least have one very dedicated Let Us Attack fan putting it all on the line for them. Let's go ahead and hop into our first match back on Goodnight 1.31. We're gonna have Vint playing as our Protoss and Ingo 505 playing as our Terran player with Let Us Attack on match point. They just need one more match to seal the deal and take the win home. All right, in our top right corner, playing as the Red Protoss Tribe under the alias Programmer, it is Vint, representing Too Fat, Too Furious in this Tier 3 of the CPL 8 Finals, looking to start the comeback for their team. But in the bottom left corner, looking to prevent that comeback and bring the home win, is going to be Ingo 505, playing as themselves as the, I guess, regular standard blue Terran squad, looking to make Let Us Attack, their team, their coaches, proud. Of course, as usual, we're going to see this wall. Now, this is a matchup where building the buildings at the ramp to get that really early wall that can actually matter. In TVT, I kind of criticized Herald for doing this on Goodnight, just because it feels like in the matchup where every unit has a gun, having a wall does not seem to matter, and so it is just kind of preemptively messing up your own pathing. But In a TVP where you have angry aliens with swords running at you, having a really early wall, if you're not comfortable with your macro or your micro, that can really kind of help lower level players stay in the game longer. So it's one of the things that like you naturally should be transitioning away from as you get better, as you learn more. But at this skill level in tier 3, we see this and we can say, okay, that isn't actually like a SimCity mistake. This is a very specific purpose, which is to relieve the micro pressures of having to deal with zealots in your main. Programmer, meanwhile, setting up their pylon at their third base here. I need to start doing this more. This is such like a big brain play, is just throwing random pylons around the map, because it's very unlikely that your opponent is going to spend a lot of time or like scouting and trying to kill these pylons, but they're also like in great positions to be able to scout drops or see like maybe like, you know, a bunch of vultures run up here to mine the space. We are going to be proxying DTs. Never mind, we aren't going to have big brain scouting plays. We're going to have big, gigantic Protoss brain ape strats. Which sometimes you need the highest IQ to do the dumbest shit. And that is like DT rushes in a nutshell. So we are going to see what our players here are going to like see. What if Ingo, oh no, is Ingo Cross going to be scouting one way and then going cross spawn? Somehow they're bending themselves in all sorts of directions in order to get this last scout. Now the Templar Archives is going up. We have a probe scouting out at the main. Ingo still does not see anything, and is just going to be returning back into the center of the base. Does not. Actually, never mind. That is smart because you're trying to see if there's a 2-gate. So I would apologize to Ingo for saying that they're specifically trying to avoid scouting their opponent, when going through the middle to scout the 2-gate can be very important. Now we have 2 Dragoons out, Templar Archives finishing up, siege mode on the way. Now here's the funny thing, right? So with no detection, you generally would need to get vulture mines. However, there is an amount of time that is bought by this wall here, where the Dark Templar is going to have to chew through a supply depot or a barracks, and you could probably repair that, right? Now, again, maybe DTs are infinitely tiny and can like fit through this like depot placement here, but if they just like, if a DT just starts tearing at the supply depot and you just build like a missile turret here, they're even building the CC on the high ground. Now this is another thing that you can do to feel safe, and especially in a situation like this where your opponent is going to have invisible men, KP boys coming at you. Bill, having your CC safe on the high ground is 100% playing in your favor. Now we do have double DT. It looks like we're going for a DT drop as opposed to just running them over to the main base. Now, Programmer did have the scout. Now, I assume if maybe they had scouted an expansion, they would have definitely tried to have just ran the DTs over. But seeing that there's a wall, we have tanks and Marines on the high ground, they're going to be going for the shuttle instead. And that's not necessarily a problem. However, it does open up the opportunity for Ingo to get their academy, their engineering bay, and their comset stations up, and missile turrets as well. So we could be seeing, we could be seeing the DTs tactically try to circumvent the fact that they'd have to swipe through this wall, but we could also be seeing, we could just be seeing that doing that tactic just delays the opponent far too long. Now, an engineering bay does lift off to go and be able to spot the drop early. However, there's no missile turrets in the main. We should see the comset station come down at any moment here. And once it does, there will be a scan in the main. We do have one zealot marching over, but once that scan in the main goes down, it really is going to matter if it catches these DTs in this shuttle or not. DTs actually running off to the corner. Really great timing on this. If the scan goes down and they see the bay, they might not think that it is going to be a DT drop. And if they're especially careful, they might be able to get them out of the main entirely. Now, the comset station is finished. We're going to have to watch this to see where the scan goes down, or if they're going to save it to be able to scan their main. Actually, missile turrets in the main, missile turrets at sort of the ramp here, and it looks like we're going to be setting up a bunker and some missile turrets at the natural here. So I don't think this drop is actually going to be doing much. And we're going to see a, well, then again, honestly, how far behind is Programmer actually in executing this this DT thing? Like, they are 6 workers behind. That's pretty rough, but they are on their base. We do have the scan go down. Let's see what we got. We have, yep, scan in the main as expected. Doesn't actually see anything, though, but we do have the shuttle coming over. Extra factories being added on. We're still just going pure tanks, but... I mean, they'll see the drop coming, and we have missile turrets everywhere. Now, if the DTs just run and beeline straight for that missile turret, there is a possibility that they'll get the damage done. However, they're dropping off in the corner. Let's remove that unit tab so we can see where these DTs are actually going. We could get a kill on the armory, but it looks like, yeah, they're going to be running straight to the main, targeting down the comset station. Really smart play there, determining that, like deleting that out of the game, and then they're going for the missile turret. And you know what? Yeah, no response here from Ingo. We have the tanks coming back, but there's no comset stations being built in the natural. The SCVs are going to have to transfer to the natural, and I mean, the DTs have full reign over the space. I mean, that is honestly, like, I mean, yeah, that just is a thing that happens sometimes. You have to be very careful and be mindful that this can just occur, especially if you're going so hard on tanks. I think if Ingo had cycled in these vultures a little bit earlier, the reaction and the response would have been much faster. Now, we do have the scan go down. However, how long is that scan actually going to last? The CC is being destroyed. There's no repairs going down on it. I mean, yeah, that is really unfortunate. They need the repair on the CC, but the DTs are just doing so much damage. This game has been turned on its head in a position that I thought Ingo was in a really nice position to be able to deflect these DTs due to a bit of a miscalculation on the response there, and with the massive dedication to tanks over the much more versatile vultures. I mean, yeah, we're going to have to wait for the scan at this comsat station to finish to actually clear out the base. And it looks like, I mean, Ingo isn't even going to be trying to be able to have their units dedicated here. They're lifting everything up. Now, that actually is a miscalculation because you're just giving up the main. You're floating away. When it is just 3 DTs, you can fight that. But, I mean, we're talking about an execution level, which, you know, I don't want to say, well, it's tier 3, but unfortunately sometimes, especially at tier 3, you make the when you go into making decisions like this, you don't make like the right ones. So we see like these DTs are getting so much, basically infinite value, right? Oh my god, is that DT actually outside of range of the missile turrets? It is. That's hilarious. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to be seeing Ingo trying to creep missile turrets down into the main to be able to catch these DTs when that just isn't going to be cost effective. A programmer is up to 29. We actually have another DT filtered in, and I'm sure that these DTs are going to just be having a great time taking out the missile turret there. Now, Ingo will eventually get the missile turrets leapfrogged over into here. But we could see, like, yeah, lots of pressure being put on the machine shop. SCV does die, which means another one's going to have to come in. But we do have a scan going down. DT runs to the corner out of range of the scan and then kind of does a dumb and comes back anyways. However, DT versus Vulture, you never know unless there's micro, but, you know. This new missile turret started. Yeah. So I think we see behind this, actually, we can talk about how insane those DTs are, but then let's actually look at like what is going on for our Protoss player, right? Because economic damage is fantastic, but you need to actually follow through on your macro so that you don't just like annoy your opponent and then not actually accomplish anything. Programmer was up to 3,000 minerals, nearly 800 gas, and they have some zealots. We see the worker count is even. Programmer's still only on 2 bases when they easily could be on 3 or 4. Well, okay, I'm sorry. They are taking a 3rd, but that just now started, and they easily could have already been on a 3rd and 4th. And the DTs are finally dealt with. We have missile turrets further in the main. We have vultures being produced. We did lose a factory, but I mean, that's fine, right? We're recovering. And yeah, so although that seemed like massive economic damage, if we actually look at where our players are positioned in the game, it is not the death knell for Ingo 505 that one would just assume it was. Looking at what damage the DT's got. Yeah, so, you know, that's really, and there's no, because Ingo didn't play that defense very well. It just solely is programmer didn't follow through on that response there. But we do have multiple shuttles out. We could see just them dropping their army into the main repeatedly and shuttling, like doing the elevator strats. We have spider mines coming down, lots of missile turrets, and additional an engineering bay is being rebuilt, which that's not the building that was destroyed, but it's okay. But honestly, like, elevator strats are fun, but they are sufficiently, like, not good. Like, there's spider mines in the main. We have enough siege tanks here. We have vultures. You're trying to get on top of the machine shops and the factories. Well, actually, we could just drop zealots right on top of that tank. DTs are dropping as well, but we do wonder, where are the majority of the units? Yeah, turns out Protoss actually take up a lot of space in shuttles, and we do kill the tanks. However, I mean, again, this was probably very inefficient from our Protoss player. Zealot run by in the main, gets some of the missile turrets, gets some of the SCVs and tanks. Oh, we actually do get that tank. We have another wave of zealots, more zealots coming in. But again, we have enough vultures here that it shouldn't be deflected fairly easily. Programmer getting into the main. We have two zealots who are too scared to fight, finally finding the will within themselves. And they are getting on top. I mean, they're going to be running up the ramp, getting on top of the tanks that are sieged up here. I mean, zealots do fight tanks fairly well. Okay. Well, you know what? Oh, wow, that tank is still alive. Huh. But the natural is falling, and so this should be a decisive victory for our red Protoss player, Programmer, or Vint for 2 Fact 2 Furious. Yeah. Sortie Boy's pretty good, as it turns out. Huh. Well, that is a leave from our 2 players. And I would assume Programmer won. Alright, there's our score screen if you care about it. Programmer with about a 15,000 point lead. Let us switch over to our splash screen, put the point on the board for our 2 Fact 2 Furious Protoss player, and hop into Game 2. Alright. Game 2 is going to take place on Neo Sylphid 2.0, which I believe is not the right map, but it's the map on the replay file, so it's the map we're going to watch. Okay, there we go. In the top position of Neo Sylphid 2.0, we have Ingo 505 representing Let Us Attack as the brown Terran squad. And in the bottom left, representing Let Us Attack as the white Protoss player with the GL Have Fun. Ingo just wants their opponent to have good luck, but no fun. No fun allowed in the Tier 3 finals of the CPL 8. To be fair, if I had a game like that game 1 was for Terran, I probably also would want my opponent to stop having fun. But I guess what we're going to be looking out for here is if Programmer is going to continue with the Dark Templar, with the memes and his dreams, or if we're going to be seeing a more of a standard play, and that game 1 was just kind of like a scam win, you know? Usually in like best of 3s, if you can get one of those types of games for free, it's really nice, because then you can just go, okay, step back, I have 2 games, I can just play solid and try to just win one of them. And you have a pretty good chance to do that. Standard stuff here from both players. Nothing that triggers any alarm bells quite yet. But then again, that scouting pylon also didn't trigger any alarm bells starting off until we saw the Citadel. So, you know, can always happen. SCV going to scout, bottom right first, so they will get the last scout here. The scouting position will probably scout here, then scout middle, then scout over here. As a reminder, if you are playing on Neo Sylphid, you must be aware of the tree. If you're not aware of the tree, you will lose a lot of games that you shouldn't lose, because the tree only bestows its blessings to the people who are aware of it, and you know, run a unit by it to give thanks. Let us see, is Ingo going to receive the blessings of the holy proxy tree, or will they shun them and scout their opponent's base immediately? It looks like they are shunning the blessings of the holy proxy tree. Well, and they, very luckily, are not getting proxied. So no player is going to receive the bounteous gifts of the Neo Sylphid proxy tree. And they're just going to scout a 2-gate. It's probably looks, you know, we have the spinning core, Dragoon out immediately. It's going to be probably 2-gate Goon. No fancy tech coming out here. So that's just a solid build. I wouldn't expect to see anything too unusual. We do have a bit of a chase going on. That Dragoon will chase the SCV all the way to the main. And I believe the timing should give that Dragoon Singularity Charge. And once it has that, it'll be able to fight these Marines, but we do have a bunker coming up. Wow, it actually gets the SCV. That's really good. Now, 3 Marines actually do kind of fight a Dragoon, especially when you back them up. So Programmer is going to move away because Marines are scary. And now that the bunker is supplied, the Dragoons will have to wait for Singularity Charge before they put on the pressure. But that is going to be the major inflection point, is if they can just deal enough damage, delay the Terran as long as possible, and we'll see what's going on. All right. Expansion coming up for Terran. No Nexus for Programmer. We instead have the Robo coming up. We might be going more into a Bulldog style, in which case they're going to want to have to catch this SCV before it scouts. There's no expansion, because otherwise Ingo will know that they have to play a lot more defensively. And unfortunately, it looks like that SCV is in fact going to be able to see that there's no expansion and play accordingly. Which is bad for the Protoss player, since you want the Terran to not play extremely defensively. However, the Bulldog is a very effective style, and if done correctly, it can probably bust this type of base. And we do have this barracks doing a lot of defense. Ooh, are we gonna? Okay, a bit of a stutter on the Dragoons there. They might have been able to dive in and snipe the tank because these tanks are being very aggressive in moving out. Okay, gonna have to just walk back a bit. Siege mode is finishing up, and we do have the shuttle and the zealots being produced on the way. We do want to have that full shuttle moving across the map. The SCV still has not re-scouted the Protoss base. And we have a lot of damage. The barracks is actually about to fall, but we do have siege mode finished sniping, and barracks does fall. Siege mode snipes the Dragoons, and oh my gosh, if Programmer's not careful, he's going to lose even more Dragoons than he already has. Now, every Dragoon is so precious when you're doing the Bulldog because you absolutely need the strongest force possible when you go to break the Terran, because if the Terran does not break, you kind of get completely screwed. But we do have 2 Dragoons in production. Full shuttle on the way. Now these zealots are going to want to drop probably on this tank, or on, if these 2 tanks clump up, they're going to want to drop there as well, to try and just bust this base. The question is, are they actually going to be able to do it? Here comes the shuttle. Where are the Dragoons? Need to start moving in as well. Shuttle's going, drops the vultures a bit too far away to actually have this tank absorb the splash shot. The zealots do get up into the base, but a really bad move-in. That is very unfortunate. Lost a lot of Dragoons. 1 Dragoon actually got picked up by the shuttle, so sick save there. But that is absolutely not what you want to be doing with this style. The zealots drop just too far away for this tank to actually get any splash damage. You need it on top of the tanks. And I mean, yeah, that was just a bit of a complete like mess up from Programmer on that engagement there. And they still do not have their expansion up despite floating 1,000 minerals. So I think, yeah, like honestly, like I don't want to be too mean. We are in the but we are in the finals here, and Programmer, it is that macro is what is really hindering them. It almost lost them the first game. Or it didn't almost lose them the first game, but it almost threw away the lead that they had in their first game. And it is going to lose them this game, is that lack of that macro there. The bad engagement is one thing. You can maybe recover from that, but not if you aren't building your Nexus until that engagement happens. So, bad rally on the Dragoons as well. Yeah, Ingo is stabilized and very much ahead. We have nearly a 20 worker lead. It looks like it's only about 17 though. And we're just now getting the Citadel. We are only at 3 gateways. We are skipping ahead and grabbing that 3rd Nexus as fast as possible, which is also very good for our Protoss player. You need to stay 1 base ahead of the Terran to be even with them. But Terran has a supply lead, and you never want to be in a situation where Terran has a supply lead, because pound for pound, 1 supply per 1 supply, Terran is vastly stronger than Protoss, like per their supply. And so, like, for the supplies to be even, that is very awkward for our Protoss player. Now, again, the majority of this supply lead is in the fact that it is 23 workers. So it really is about a 53 supply to 30 some. So it's still bad. It's still bad for our Protoss player, but they do have a bit more in the actual army count. Now here comes the move-in, but unfortunately you can't fight into those tanks. That shuttle died too quickly, and now Ingo is going to start inching out, getting map control, getting their spider mines laid, and I mean that vulture's going to run right to the main and be able to see. What the? Okay. Interesting. Interesting move out there. But the Vulture will see the third base. It will probably get a few probe kills because it just will. Probes fighting Vultures never works out for the probes. Unless you have Bisu Micro. But that Vulture still gets 5 kills, which is a lot. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it is a Terran game. It is literally Ingo's game to lose at this point. Six factories? Jesus. Yeah, 6 factories to 3 gateways. So Protoss generally wants to have twice as many gateways as their opponent has factories, or at the very least have more. Now we do see Programmer using their massive bank to begin the carrier switch. We're at the watch for what Ingo actually scouts here, because if they scan this natural and see the Stargates, also they could just kill them in a push here. It does take forever for the carriers to actually come online, and Programmer has absolutely nothing to prevent this amount of tanks from just moving over to their natural, except for the Terran's natural inclination to play as passively as possible. Huh. And I guess that inclination is going to pay off for them. Alright. Stargates are up. We were just waiting for the gas to build the fleet bacon, and there it is. The wonderful bacon building. And Ingo is going to prepare their push. Let's check what those upgrades are. We are at 1-0 with 2-1 on the way, and Programmer leaves the game. A bit premature, but they were going to lose. It was pretty dire situation there for our Protoss player. Normally I would say don't leave games so early until you know you're dead, but they were dead. So that is going to be 1-1 on the scoreboard. Switch over to the splash screen. Vint with a game, Ingo with a game, and honestly, I don't know. I might be putting my chips in the basket for Ingo after that match. If Ingo we're on match point. Whichever player wins, they take the whole thing home. And if Ingo wins, then the best that 2Fact 2 Furious can hope for is a 2-3 with Let Us Attack winning. Let's move to our final game of this series on Eclipse 1.05A, I guess. And let's see who is going to take home the win and potentially the tier. In the top right, we have Ingo 505 playing as the Dark Blue Terran squad, looking to finalize the Let Us Attack Tier 3 victory as the Dark Blue Terran squad. And in the bottom left, looking to come back to get that win, we have Programmer as the Orange Protoss tribe, ready to begin the one of 2 victory. Ready to win the first of 2 victories for their team to come back and take home Tier 3 for 2Fact 2 Furious. Also, for all of our Protoss friends, fans at home, just gas steal on Eclipse every game. Just gas steal. Just do it. It's free. It's literally free. When you build your pylon, just send the probe over. You have no reason not to. It's actually free. a Terran's gas on Eclipse that doesn't have an assimilator on it? No. Just build the assimilator. It's free real estate. They just let you do it. Yeah, no. It's I have not seen any compelling arguments to not just gas steal a Terran every game on this map. Thought of saying don't take the gas, the Terran will be so baffled their build will fall apart fair. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's a 2-player map. Gas stealing it is actually free if you start sending it after the pylon. But we have our Terran scout out here, and Programmer with the hidden pylon. Second verse, third verse, same as the first. Second verse, we got a little funky with it. We had a little jazz, a jazz solo improv there in the middle. But we are back to your regularly scheduled Dark Templar for Game 3. And I mean, again, I stand by that Programmer very nearly threw away an absolute mishandling of the DT attack in Game 1. And if Ingo just executes that defense slightly better, they 100% can hold that attack and then just re-macro up and defeat Programmer. But, I mean, we could just see a repeat of Game 1 as well. I think it really does depend if Ingo dedicates so hard to siege tanks early on, or if they actually mix in the vultures a little bit sooner. Since relying so heavily on siege tanks is what cost them Game 1. Alright, we do have the Dragoon out. SCV is scouting. Now, is he going to check the third? He is not going to check the third, which means Programmer is going to get that Templar Archives starting to construct. There it is. But this Dragoon is going to chase the SCV all the way across the map. We are going to have a second SCV, however, going in the scout. That SCV will guy. But on Ingo's side, it does just kind of look like the same build in 2, right? Because in that game, they also sent the Dragoon across the map. The Dragoon is going to try to run up the ramp, but there's enough Marines up here. 5 Marines are enough, definitely enough to kill a Dragoon. We do have an SCV scouting around. This SCV beelining straight to the third. Yeah, they're going to see it. So they 100% know. No! Ingo was just checking for the base. Well, that is an unfortunate little circumstance right there. Huh. That's crazy. The Programmer has to assume that he saw the DTs, right? And he's not building DTs, he's instead just going for the expansion. But we do have 3 missile turrets going up, 2 in the main, 1 at the little main choke here on the ramp. So Ingo will be able to defend this, but Programmer is going for the macro and getting their base up on their opponent. There's no CC in production for Ingo. Yeah. Nope. Okay, so we are going DTs. We do have the shuttle out. But again, like missile turrets and Marines in main, missile turrets on the edge here too. I don't think this is going to work for Programmer. And so, I mean, if you know, this gets deflected, I said that. However, I said that in game 1 as well, so we will come down purely to execution. But I don't know. It's definitely weird. I think there's enough missile turrets that the DTs won't actually accomplish too much. And we have siege tanks and a nice little marine pack in the main. We haven't moved this defensive force down yet. So I think these DTs are going to be flying right into a death trap. Which is bad. Yeah, there they are. And there they go. 2 missile turrets already set up. Oh yeah, that's rough. Fuck, how many resources is that? That's 375. That's 575 minerals and 300 gas. Yeah, that's bad. We do have a DT in. You'll love to hear it though. DT swiping at Marines in the main is gonna die as it moves up the ramp, but it takes an SCV, so it kinda did okay. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely not what programmer was looking for. But I mean, they are still on their second base. They can expand. And I think as long as Ingo just doesn't like build enough units and comes and kills them in the next like 3 minutes, they might be able to even this out. Second DT on the way. Well, there it goes. And programmer going for the double Stargate. I lost my mind there for a second. Going for the double Stargate carrier play once again, getting up the 3 bases. Now carriers are really OP, so you know we're gonna be relying on some Pusagi advantage here to take these games to victory. Another shuttle with 4 DTs. I mean, there's a missile. There's 2 missile turrets. You just give it up, man. Like, I love DTs as much as the next person, but there is a limit, you know. Drop on the tank or. Oh, that's painful to watch. That one hurts. Alright, well, we're just buying time, right? We're keeping the Terran on a defensive posture, right? We're sacrificing resources to buy time to be able to build the end game, the carriers. Because once these bad boys are out, the Terran will have to build Goliaths to counter them. So there you go. We're going 3 Stargate carrier. Let's go. Including the shuttle, that's 700 minerals and 400 gas. Oh god. So that is like that is 1,275 minerals and 700 gas on failed DT drops. Okay. Yep. Ingo just mining up, fully walling themselves in there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I assume we'll see the scans. We have Goliath missile range already researching. I mean, programmers going to be leaning really hard on those carriers And you can lean pretty hard on carriers. The problem is, you do need to, like, support them. And when you go 3 Stargate carriers, you aren't building other things to support those fat baguettes. The long alien bananas are not going to, you know, live on their own. As we're already starting to see the Goliaths filtered in with Ingo's army. Ingo scans going down. They see almost everything. Still no scouts on the actual carriers themselves, though. But I mean, like, they see all the other macro, and you have to wonder where his money's going. And, like, the assumption has to be carriers, right? Or, like, hidden bases. But there's no hidden bases. We have good map control for that, so yeah. Either your opponent is punting as hard as they possibly can, or they're, like, putting all their chips in on carriers. I guess we'll really see if Ingo is going to make a decision on that, or if they're going to wait until they can confirm a decision from their opponent before they actually hard commit fully to Goliath. And it looks like we are seeing that they're going to wait until they actually see something before they do the hard Goliath switch. Another set of scans go down. Don't just looking at dragoons. Nothing crazy. We're getting up to 6 carriers now. Constant production still underway. However, the gas bank is drying up a little. We have a lot of spare minerals. We could see a few more. Gateways added on, and just a lot of zealots. Carrier Zealot is fine because you have to go Goliaths to fight the carriers, but then the Zealots can kind of fight Goliaths okay. Like, they're okay at fighting the Goliaths. They're not great at it. Yeah. More scans going down. Again, everywhere except the very specific corner there. However, the carriers will have to run up to save this probe line, which is about to get massacred. 60 probes, by the way, which is a huge amount. Programmer does lose a lot of probes there, but again, oh, and he's just letting the base die, letting it filter out, so that the carriers are hidden, and he's flying straight over. However, if we look at Ingo's map vision, he still hasn't seen the carriers. I don't know. I kind of really like this play, right? It's hiding the carriers for as long as possible. I mean, at what point does he actually see them? Oh my god, are they going to get all the way to the main? Oh, wait, no. Shoot. They backed off. Never mind. Okay. So this attack won't do anything, and if Ingo actually commits here, it's a really big mistake, because the tanks will all get killed. Actually, never mind. It might not be a mistake. He might just be able to kill everything before the carriers can do enough damage. And that's kind of a lie. The Vultures are getting a lot of probe kills done. However, like, I mean, you just spam Goliaths now, right? The tanks and the Vultures don't actually do anything once you see this many carriers. It literally is just, you just need Goliaths. You can lose all those tanks, and Ingo still is fine, down to 31 probes of 46 SCVs, and we just need to see Goliath production and only Goliath production. We aren't seeing that, but we will, because that's all Ingo needs. That said, we're at what, 9 carriers? Seven carriers. Yeah, if those carriers get on top of these factories, that actually is GG. Like, there definitely is room here for Programmer to still win if Ingo doesn't, like, just build nothing but Goliaths, mass up Goliaths, fights the carriers in good positions. If these carriers actually are able to get good angles, good harassments, and good engages, they can win the game on their own. Bit of an awkward engagement, though. We do have Goliaths out here, firing at the interceptors. SCVs are dying. Goliaths are trying the path well, but this is just such a nice pocket for the carriers to sit in. And yeah, we're just focusing down SCVs. Wow, Programmer playing cool, calm, and collected. But once these Goliaths move over here, we're going to be in really what is the hard position here because the carriers will be cornered. However, the barracks that was giving vision does die. We have the scans going down, but again, these carriers can just retreat back further and further back into this corner and be safe from whatever angle they need to be safe from. Okay, but Programmer mining out at their main. They still have their natural... Oh, shoot. Ingo is mined out at their main, and they can't mine from their natural because their carriers are there. They're at 0 minerals with a CC building on the third. Now, the third should be safe because the carriers are here and not over here. And to get over there, they'd have to fight through Goliaths, but it looks like Ingo said, you know what? Forget this. I'm going for the base trade. Which, fair. I mean, you probably need to just run the vultures up the ramp. However, we do have 3 carriers at home to defend. Those carriers will be able to fight, maybe fight these Goliaths, but it definitely is going to be a weird game from here on out. We also have a lot of now, suddenly, all these missile turrets that Ingo overproduced to be safe from DT drops are actually going to be crucial in having them live long enough for their forces to be able to, you know, base trade effectively. This carrier only has 2 interceptors. That is very unfortunate. Now, these Goliaths just have to fight. Okay, they are fighting. They will be able to take these carriers out. And if we can move up this base fast enough... I mean, Terran kills bases insanely quickly. These carriers can do a lot of damage, but they have to kill 1 structure at a time. This should be a GG in Ingo's favor. Yeah, probes melt as they run through tank and Goliath fire. Carriers are produced with no interceptors. Yeah, these Goliaths need to run up here and start killing. They really need to take out these Stargates. We have Goliath production at home, but... Oh, we do have 1 probe. We need just enough resources to throw a pylon in a quarter here so that these carriers can live. Because, again, if Programmer actually can kill this base and then, you know, make sure Ingo gets taken off the third, I think the carriers can win the fight, right? But it really does come down to Programmer cutting off the factory production, and he's wasting so much time on supply depots. Actually, no, Ingo's supply blocked. So killing the supply depots does cripple the factory production. What the fuck? Okay, I honestly have no idea where the game goes from here, right? We have carriers defending the third. I'm getting lightheaded. I probably need to eat something. Okay, that's huge. Pylon is built in the corner. Yeah, Programmer should win. Like, actually. But he needs to actually kill the things that need to die. Like, shave off the missile turrets. Why is he targeting the machine shop? No. It's so awkward. He's wasting so much DPS on buildings that don't matter at this point. Because really what the issue, I don't know even though, the issue was, right, because Ingo could just go and expand, is he needed to extremely quickly kill these factories and then kill this base so that his production was crippled. But with the amount of missile turrets that Ingo is now able to build at the third, he's able to get his fourth. And I mean, the probe can hide things. The thing is, right, he had to kill these bases and he either had to defend this third or keep... Oh no, is that a scout? He does not see the pylon. Can we have, like, they have the carriers to win the fight, but he has to mass them up, kill these factories, and then just ignore the rest of the base. I guess he does need to kill the missile turrets, though, because his whole thing is he has to fight up into this corner around here to turn this mineral field off, but then Ingo just leapfrogs over here. This base is dead. I still think there is some sort of angle for Vint, for Programmer in this game, to be able to find the way to win, but it's awkward. It's really awkward. Because carriers can kill missile turrets kind of, not forever, but very close to it. And it really is just making sure Ingo can't rebuild the factory count. Ingo 505 with what is this game even? Okay, no, I agree. I don't know, that's a lot of missile turrets. I actually don't know if carriers can fight through this. Holy shit, actually, hold on. Oh. The last place you'd look. However, Programmer is out of minerals now. They're still building so many interceptors, they can't build any more, so they have been shaving interceptors off from these missile turrets. Yeah, I don't know. I think the missile turrets just will eventually kill so many probes that yeah, it would be so funny if he scouts the probe and is forced to like actually win, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's yeah, we can see the vultures running around just trying to find wherever they could be. But I think once this pylon is scouted, if it's scouted though, again, this is a really great place for Programmer. Because like, it's just a simple corner, but he's not really going to run units up there, right? He's spending all his time looking around at the bottom of the map. And I think the interceptors, they might be starting to dry up, but again, you could just build an infinite amount of missile turrets, which is what Ingo is deciding to do. Yeah, every single interceptor that dies is like an eighth of a... Jesus Christ. And there it is! He sees it. There we go. Alright, please, Programmer, stay in the game so we can get the, get the forced win. No! No! Okay, Jesus. Wow. That game was intense, and that means Ingo actually is going to take it 2-1, which means that Let Us Attack, I believe, if we go to our little splash screen here and we look at who Let Us Attack's players are, whoop, 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 it would seem, let's count up the points, Let Us Attack wins with 3 wins in Tier 3. They take their Tier 3 games. That game took a lot out of me, but we're going to keep on going because we took like a 30-minute break, and we're going to take a look at Z-Man versus Shimmer now. Oh man, I actually probably do need to eat something here. Oh shit, I have leftover. Alright. With Z-Man versus Shimmer, this is going to be a PVZ. And our final Tier 3 game, or the final Tier 3 game of CPL total at all. After this match, there will be no more. So we're saying they were sniped, that the player was swapped by the other team. Wow. But after this match, there will be no more Tier 3 games for CPL 8. We will only have the other tiers of the ones that weren't casted yet. Let us go ahead and hop into this PVZ match. And Wall Z-Man can't take the win home for their team. They can at least make this a 3-2 instead of a 4-1. Shimmer with in the chat, making something that those aren't excuses, are they, Shimmer? Actually, the problem is the best tier 3 in the league was on the Korean mechanic. Wait, yeah, the best tier 3 player in the league, undefeated, was Triple T. They were the best, but you know, I'm sure Z-Man and you are also pretty good players. He was 8-0. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, it was good knowing ya. But we have the scouts going out for both players. And we have a gateway in the main for Shimmer. Now, I have seen a few of Shimmer's games. I know that they like to do that 10-12 gate PVZ. I think. No, it's actually just going to be gateway in the main PVZ. You don't see that a lot. Well, it probably can still be 10-12 gate. You just get the assimilator before the 12 gate, I guess. Well, I am not aware of what this build is. So I don't think this is a real build. Well, no, yeah, this isn't a real build. So we're playing Improv Protoss versus what looks to be fairly standard Zerg. No extractor yet, which is a little awkward. Might be going for, okay, we're going for the third base there pretty quickly. But I'm very confused as to what Shimmer's plan is in this game. Because usually if you're going to be one base Protoss versus Zerg, you have to get the 2 gateways out very quickly so that you have enough Zealots to pressure the Zerg into staying on 2 bases. Because one base Protoss can do okay against 2 base Zerg, but actually one base Protoss is better. One base Protoss is better. Let me say words correctly. One base Protoss versus 2 base Zerg is better for the Protoss than 2 base Protoss versus 3 base Zerg, because Zerg scales so hard with how many bases they have that even though like 2 versus 3 is still even, it's more in the Protoss's favor when it's 1 versus 2. We're actually going up to 5 hatcheries, so I'm assuming we're going to be seeing the 5 hatch Hydra bust here. Style. And yeah, I just think this probably should be a win for Z-Man. I don't think this is like, I don't think this will work. Protoss needs to have that second base up. And I mean, the tech is just so far delayed, so I guess I can see what the strategy is, which is a fast +1 with a huge mass of Zealots. The issue is that that gets countered really hard by good Sim City, and that is what Z-Man has down here in their natural here. And with the Overlords getting free scouts, they'll see the Zealots, the mass of Zealots running over, and then they just build some Hydras, and they have their good Sim City, and they deflect the attack fairly easily. Especially with double summons, there's no way. We do get 2 Zealots in the main. Now that actually can be very good. Shimmer's going to expand behind this, which is also good. Now, with 2 Zealots in the main, they just need to, you know, stay alive, and they can do a lot of damage. With good micro here, they can probably fight this amount of Zerg. Unfortunately, it looks like the wounded one ended up fighting the attacking units, and it looks like with a good pull by Z-Man, they do deflect the 2 Zealots. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Z-Man is just playing really well here. They're defending the cheesy all-in-y play. And Shimmer, meanwhile, they still haven't gotten their Nexus. And, I mean, they're going to try and transition into being able to have a defensible natural, but with the amount of Hydras that Z-Man is going to be able to field at this point in the game with 3 bases on Zerg, yeah, I just don't see a way for them to be able to hold this and sustain into the mid-game. At the same time you're engaging cannons. Yeah. Still no Nexus. Zealot Spief, Templar Archives on the way. That's a lot of Hydras. Yeah. Yeah, once the Zealot count shrinks, it's really hard to keep these Dragoons and Cannons alive. Shimmer, GG's, leaves the game, and Z-Man is going to take game 1. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty convincing game 1. However, I will stand by that. I think the majority of why that game was so convincingly in Z-Man's favor, that seemed to just be not a real build from Shimmer. I understand the goal, which was to be like, have a lot of Zealots, have +1 really fast, and overrun the Zerg, but unfortunately, it didn't work. Yeah, it's like all the Zerg has to do is sim city correctly, and that kind of strategy just doesn't work. It's fun, but you have to be able to catch the opponent by surprise, which is hard to do when the opponent's resource building is a floating unit that gets free scouts on you for the whole game. Anyways, our last match is going to be on Eclipse 1.1. Let's go ahead and switch the stream over, and this is going to be last match is next game. Let me say words correctly instead of my brain just auto-correcting like just full sentences. Our last match's next game is going to be on Eclipse 1.1 with Z-Man as the Black Zerg in the top right corner and Shimmer Rev as the purple pinkish Protoss in the bottom left. Representing Let Us Attack, Z-Man of course representing 2FAC, 2 Furious. And I mean, this could be our last game. If Z-Man takes it here, they will take one more win in for 2FAC, 2 Furious, and that will be a a less embarrassing loss. 3-2 is more respect. You can deal with 3-2. But if Shimmer gets the reverse sweep 2-0 here, that will be a 4-1 victory for Let Us Attack. So they want to get greedy. They want to get that nice record in to improve that percentage. But 2FAC, 2 Furious, they might just want to, if they get every win counts. So if they get the win here, they might not take the whole tier, but in the tiers, if you combine the tiers they do take, they might still be able to get that win in. So it really does just, every win does matter when you're tallying up every tier. It's just this win for this tier doesn't matter for the purposes of this cast. Okay, Scout on Forge, Overlord on the way. Again, Ovi on the way, Hatchery going down, so it's going to be Hatch first, and then probably the spawning pool afterwards. There we go. Hatch first pool. And it isn't a 12 hatch either. Yes, it might have been. No, it wasn't 12 hatch. We would have 12 drones right now. Doy. But with that scout off, Shimmer's going to be able to build the Nexus before any defensive buildings. That's really great. Good use of scouting. Making smart and informed decisions. You could probably also build the gateway before the cannon. But, that would be a little bit greedier. And, a slightly bit scarier, riskier, one would say. Alright, still no gas for the Zerg player here, so I'm assuming we're actually going to be having a pretty fast 3 hatch here. Here we go. Gateway coming down for Shimmer. And then we should see them develop the, go into Gateway, go to regular Protoss stuff, Cybernetics Core, Assimilator, whatnot. Forge, Gate, Gas, Cyber. Okay, Probe is caught by the Zerglings there. We have 2 sets of Zerglings. They won't be enough to actually do any damage, but it's enough to keep the Protoss honest. Make sure that they at least have to have a cannon or 2, and they have to be cognizant of the threat of a Zergling rush. Second probe going out the scout. Slips by the Zergling, so it should be able to catch the Hydra Den that's coming up. And I mean, if you're Z-Man, you just run it back, right? You played that 5. You can just do 5-hatch Hydra again. Game 1 was kind of free, and so this one will actually just be the one that you execute the Hydra bust on. Yep, so there's the 4th hatchery, so we should see the 5th one added on fairly soon as well. The Zerglings aren't going to catch the probe, so it will get the scout and confirm. Meanwhile, back at home, Shimmer is going for Citadel of the... No, I'm sorry. We should see Stargate coming down right here. Yes, so we do see Stargate. We probably could have skipped it by the scout, but it's very standard to still just get the Stargate just in case. So yeah. Probe gets caught again, but it does see the hatchery building. We don't have a 5th hatch up yet, so we might just be trading that in for a faster attack here. Citadel on the way, so we should see those extra gateways added on soon. About even worker count, and now the Hydras are going to start moving over and probably start trying to put pressure on these outward-facing buildings, specifically the Forge, because Z-Man is going to want to get that +1 attack upgrade canceled as soon as possible. More Hydras filtering in as the bust is beginning to truly activate. Their scouting probe gets completely ganked, and the extra cannons are being added on just in time to kind of keep the natural safe from the really fast, like from the Hydra bus getting too far in too quickly. Templar Archives on the way. Hydras are now finally moving up to pressure the wall. Actually, never mind, they were just chasing Zealots. But we have gateways added on. Templar Archives is close to being finished, so we should see Storm researched. Instead, we are researching Zealot legs and Dragoons, which you shouldn't do when there are Hydralisks outside your base. Maybe the thought is that they might be going Lurkers, but you really don't need to be building a Dragoons. Like, this is your Storm research right here. Like, legs and Dragoon. That's Storm. So that's a pretty rough to see. Generally don't want to see that happen, but it's still holdable. I mean, we have the income for Storm now, so we just need Storm and some High Templar, and you know, with enough cannons it will be held, theoretically. Storm just starting, Zealots being added in. Corsair getting the full scout is going to see the lair starting to morph, or, you know, kind of turn down. But here comes the push, and unfortunately I think that might be too many Hydras. They're going to melt through the Zealots streaming in. We have cannons being built up on the high ground, but I mean, that's bad. And yeah, I mean, there just probably is not enough cannons here. The Hydras just barely have enough to be able to, like, take them out. And with that, well, you know what? That cannon, I was talking crap, but it did get a kill. And actually, the reinforcing Zealots here from Shimmer are going to save the base. Z-Man actually does not break it. That's very surprising. I guess he engaged way too aggressively into the cannons, thinking that it would have been a free win, and it probably would have, but yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe just didn't come forward fast enough. However, this is the second round of Hydras. There's only one cannon alive right here. Hydras will tear through that extremely quickly. And then the Hydras in the back will kill the cannons that are just now warping in. Probes being pulled to fight the Hydras. Whenever that happens, you know you're in for trouble. Okay, Zealot doing a lot of good work, but unfortunately, there's so many reinforcements. Shimmer GG's, and that ends this series. Z-Man takes it 2-0. Let us check our score. Hold on. Let's check the scoreboard if you're interested for that. We can see by what points we have. Looks like Z-Man is only slightly ahead with about 700 extra points over their opponent. And let us return to that scoreboard. All right. It's our last game here as Z-Man takes it 2-0. So our final score, 2-1 Magic Bullet versus Herald, a 2-1 victory for Dada over Phoenix, a 2-0 victory for Marting B over Tech AJPU, a 2-1 victory for Ingo 505 over Vint, and a 2-0 victory for Z-Man over Shimmer. That is your CPL 8 Finals Tier 3. That is the last Tier 3 of the CPL 8 period. I'm going to be honest, those were some really fun games. I think a lot of the players here, there's a huge difference between Tier 3s at the start of the season and Tier 3s at the end of the season, so I think it's really great to see the improvements that players were able to make over the course of these past 3-ish months. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. It's been great casting. I don't think Dada's in the chat anymore, but if they were, they would be able to let us know what the other, I could shill for what our future casts are going to be. I know that, I believe Dada is planning the cast Tier 2 at some point. Let me see, where's our announcements? Where's CPLA announcements? What has been cast already? So Dada casted Tier 2, so I guess we are still looking at Tier 0 and Tier 1 to come in. I'm not sure what the total score is so far for either team, but I mean, let us attack. Their Tier 3s were looking pretty strong. But I guess, you know, some teams have stronger Tier 3s than other tiers. It's one of the more volatile places because, you know, if the players on that team train really well, you can end up with Tier 3 players who at the end of the season should be Tier 2. And like high level Tier 2 if they train really well, again. So that's our stream though. Thanks for watching. If you aren't following, drop a follow. Also follow the CPL official Coach-Pupil League Twitch channel. And with that, we are going to find another random StarCraft channel to raid, and that's how we're gonna end the stream. I'll switch over my overlay to our warp out overlay, put on some calming, chill music as we look at who else is streaming StarCraft right now. All right. Okay, browse. Give me StarCraft. Oh shit, hold on, Basilius is streaming? The CPL streaming hero Basilius. I have never watched. What the hell is going on here? Yeah, we'll raid him. That seems he is grinding those ladder games. He's always in the CPL voice chat, always playing StarCraft, playing like 50 games a day. It's actually crazy. He's in the hangout right now, so raid him. I don't know, shit. There we go. I clicked on his stream. I've never seen what his stream looks like before, and it definitely, this is something. So again, thank you so much for watching the cast. We'll probably be doing, I don't know if we'll be doing casting next week. It depends on if that Nice Pants' No Worries Fake Ladder, I guess, has games. Actually, no, they do have games. Oh, we can fill in and do that. But with that, we're gonna do the raid again. Thank you for watching, and see ya.